Hey, what's up everybody? How are you guys doing? Welcome to my cave of wasps. They were waking up just a moment ago, but they seem to be kind of chilled out right now, so we will run with that. So yeah, the market's crashing. Everything's going to zero. Hair's on fire. Run for the woods. Grab your bug out bag and get out of town, because yeah, no. You're going to hear probably a lot about this today and maybe over the next couple days. Stock market took a little bit of a downturn. Now, you got to keep an eye on the flying creatures. Yeah, it was a pretty big downturn. It's not Black Monday. The Dow Jones took about a 3,500 point drop on Black Monday. It led to like a 13% or something like that drop. Very big, very major. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Aha. All right, got one of them. There's quite a few in here. I'm gonna have to clean that window. Yeah. So anyway, where was I? Yeah. It was about a 3,500 point drop on Black Monday. Today is about 1,000 points. Last I looked, it was 853, but it's a big move. It's absolutely a big move. Is it the end of the world? Nah, it isn't. It isn't. It's a correction. We're getting into correction territory, especially on the NASDAQ. There's been a lot of retraction out of tech, Apple, Microsoft, Google, stuff like that, which has had a huge impact on the whole market because they hold so much weight. But it's not the end of the world. Now, if this continues and today just continues to tank, overnight tanks, tomorrow tanks, yeah, we're going to be in trouble. But the thing to remember is when you start having these economic problems, specifically with the stock market, it is not necessarily when you start seeing things happen globally and economically with the higher rates. It's more when we get the rate cuts. Now, rate cuts are in the future. It was supposed to be no rate cuts for the rest of 2024. Then they said, okay, well, maybe November we'll get one. Then it was maybe September and November we'll get one. Then quickly became, okay, we're probably going to do 4 rate cuts now. So September, October, November, December, they're going to be doing rate cuts. Then Jerome Powell came out and said, we might have to do an emergency rate cut. Now, that should be the most concerning thing of all of this economically right now, because that means that the Fed realizes, oops, it's gone too far. The economy has officially broke, and we need an emergency action to try to fix it and remedy it to try to keep it all afloat. Now, 2 things with that. First thing is whenever they start doing these rate cuts, especially big rate cuts, if they end up doing 4 to 6 rate cuts in the next 4 months, that's big. You got to understand, that's big. It should be a little bit slower of rate cuts, but they're wanting to do some quick ones. Now, that's going to stimulate the economy. That's great. Okay, business is going to start being able to spend money. That's great. Okay. But what's going to happen is inflation is going to skyrocket. They're pumping a lot more money, stimulating the economy, putting more money into the country and the world for that matter. So people are in turn going to go spend money. Like right now, the numbers on discretionaries and long-term purchases and stuff like that have come way back into a dangerous zone. So now, okay, if the interest rates on houses go down and all the stuff and cars, and people are going to go start spending money on those big ticket items, which in turn is going to pump inflation up. That is what they're trying to avoid. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place where do we crash the whole economy, or do we crash the economy through inflation, or do we try to fix the problem and end up Crashing the economy. Let me start that over. Crash the economy or stimulate the economy, and therefore causing inflation to go up. So it's the balance between having no money or having too much money, and neither of them are good. So we're kind of at that place. Now, the other thing about that is the crash isn't now. The big downturn in the stock market, in investments, in your retirement, and the wealth of the country is not now. After they start stimulating, after they do these rate cuts, is when you start the recession. Or depression, as a lot of people like to say. I don't think we're going to be too far from actually saying that a depression is in the window. But I think a recession most definitely is. And you're going to see it. That day is going to hit you. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be hyping today up is a really big deal. It's a little bit of a big deal, but it's not a huge big deal. Like I already see the videos coming. I see the comments coming. It's not going to be like that. It's already kind of recovering a little bit. Today can do anything. The market can do anything that it wants to do. There's no say that it's supposed to go up or down or recover or crash. But after they do these rate hikes, if they do an emergency double cut in September and then they do another cut after that, at least by that time, you're going to see the result of what happens with rate cuts. Usually, historically, when I've looked back at it, and I could be wrong on this, I didn't do a lot of research, but it's usually about 2 weeks after they do the first rate cut that you start to see the stock market take a turn for the worse. That's when you start to see a lot of people lose money and things just overall get much worse in the country. So keep that in mind. A lot of people are going to say rate cuts are a good thing, which they can be, but at the first little section of this, it's not, because it's going to crash the market. So that's the talk right now, an emergency double rate cut and then following rate cut. I've even heard 2 double rate cuts. I don't know if that's going to happen because these statistics and future projections change all the time. So they might not do any rate cuts. We don't know. But if they do 2 double rate cuts, hang on, tighten your seatbelts. It'll probably happen before the second double rate cut. It'll probably happen before the second rate cut within about 2 weeks of the first one. So the government has realized that there is a problem. There is an economic problem. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You got to pick your poison here. And I think they're going to crash the market before they let inflation go back up. Or do both. So, all right, wanted to kind of talk about that. There's a lot of crazy things. I mean, I'm not a current event channel. I don't talk about a lot of the current events, but we were supposed to have some stuff happen with Iran and Israel, and nothing really happened over the weekend. There was some big hype about that. I still think something is going to happen. I'm almost positive something's going to happen. What it is, we don't know. When it is, we don't know. Is there going to be something happen on U.S. soil? I think so. I don't know what it is. Probably something in a terrorist attack field. Not sure. I know the Middle East, the United Arab Embassies opened up their market and they sold. They sold a lot. It dropped like 30 points, 30 or 40 points just with that market opening. So the Middle East they're bugging out. They're getting out of it. A lot of people are getting out of it. Warren Buffett sold Apple. He's getting out of it. But anyway, is anything going to happen? Who knows? Keep your seatbelt tight. Keep buying food. I went a couple weeks without really buying much for preps. We've been up to par for a 1-year supply on food. But we've been eating a little bit of it, trying to cycle through. We made a mistake on some of our canned food. We bought it halfway through the expiration date, so we're sitting on a lot of it technically expired past the best by date on foods, but we kind of dialed it back a little bit to try to go through some of the supply that we have. But this last yesterday, we did shopping and we threw an extra 50 or 80 bucks into just some preps. So keep it going, keep buying food, keep buying what you need to buy, clothes, boots, socks, all that good stuff. Keep prepping because This is going to be a sequential progression of SHTF, like I put out in my previous video. I know it's been a little while since I did a video. I apologize about that, by the way. But yeah, this is part of the whole progression of everything going to shit. So keep prepping while you can. Keep doing what you can. If you can put back $5 a week, put back $5 a week. Hold a little bit of cash. Do what you got to do. Now we can still do it. We're not always going to be this lucky. So with that, I will recommend some bug defense. And thanks for watching. Hit that like. That'd be pretty cool. Till next time, I'll talk to you again. Talk to you again then, and peace.